In this video, we're going to talk about strategies for managing risk related to carbon markets.
Yeah, so when we think about risk in agriculture, right, I look at it as economic risk, right? So there's 5 major risks, economic risks in agriculture, but we're going to talk about 3 of them as it relates to carbon markets, right? We're going to talk about production risk, marketing risk, and legal risk as we think about carbon contracts or carbon offsets or insets as they have evolved through time. And so really thinking through and getting ahead, because for a long time these have been voluntary programs that farmers had the option to sign up for. Well, that may or may not be the case moving forward. I call it could be voluntold programs, right? And you may have to do X, Y, and Z to even sell your grain into certain markets. There's definitely things that you need to think about from a risk perspective. Don't bury your head in the sand, right? It's here. Don't think it's going to go away. So first we're going to talk about production risk, right? So a lot of these programs have you adopt something or do something maybe new, right? So adopt cover crops or adopt no-till. Well, think about the production risk of implementing cover crops, for example, right? Do you have enough time in the winter to plant, right? Do you have enough water resources, especially in this neck of the woods, we're in Texas. And so have you ever planted cover crops before, right? Experience that. Is there any yield drag, right? What about terminating? My neck of the woods, it's wet in the springtime. Right. We're barely able to get the cash crop in. So can you even get the cover crop terminated and then plant your cash crop? So there's a lot of production risks to think about and plan for when thinking about this carbon space and participating in carbon programs. From the marketing perspective, right? Do you have multiple markets, right? Or are you in an area where you're only selling to one company, right? And what happens if this company says you have to do X, Y, and Z to sell, right? Are you ready for that, right? Do you have to go to a different market? Think about from that perspective, if you do, right, what's the additional transportation cost or discounts that you're going to incur, right, from going to a new market that you may not traditionally go to. So really thinking about that. I've got producers thinking about implementing co-ops to have market power, right? Coming together saying, all right, we're going to come together, aggregate our crop and say, okay, well, we may need to demand a little bit higher price than what you're asking for. So those type of things to think about. And from, last but not least, the legal perspective, right? What are some of the legal things that, risks and challenges in this space?
Yeah, absolutely. I think a lot of times when folks are looking at something like, again, a cover crop, no-till, you really kind of zone in on that production risk, and it's easy to forget about the legal risk as well, especially in the offsetting situation. You've got usually a fairly long, complex legal document that spells out all the rights and obligations, and so lots of risk there. You need to make sure you've got an attorney who can help you review that contract. Make sure you take the time to read the contract, understand it. Lots of moving pieces there as far as legal risk goes. And so with that, Jordan, we've got a host of resources available for folks as they're looking at carbon markets. We've got a checklist that walks through these different types of risks, along with another list of fact sheets and videos people can find at both the University of Kentucky Ag Economics website and at the Texas Agriculture Law blog.